Hey Christian, good evening. This is Coach Holtman. Just want to break down a couple of things that I'm seeing here with your mechanics. So as we start, we'll take you into hip load. Okay, the first thing that I'm looking for as you go into hip load, so as you lift this leg. All right. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind before I get too far into this is I don't really know as much about sidearm pitching as I do with like normal over-the-top pitching. Okay, so I'm going to give you kind of my best guess on what I think is right, but I'm not entirely sure. So we'll kind of do the best we can here and see what we can find. All right. One thing I notice is if you look at your back foot, all right, it's not really flush with the rubber. Okay, so we want to turn that thing so that way it's completely up against the rubber with both our heel and our toe. All right, so get that thing flush up against the rubber there. Okay. That would be the number one thing, the first thing that I would tell you to fix. Okay, so foot flush up against the rubber. Okay, second thing, let's go into leg lift. Okay, what I'm looking for as you go into leg lift is I want to see this front leg go up towards the back shoulder. Okay, so front leg towards the back shoulder. All right, you're about at as far back as you want to go. Okay, so you're going up, looks like it's going towards that back shoulder, maybe a little bit past. Not a huge deal, but that's one thing I want to look for is back shoulder or back ear. All right, so that's not too bad right there. Okay, I'm also looking to see if this back leg is fully extended, which yours is, going pretty much straight up, which is good. Okay, so the only thing that I would fix for you on hip load is making sure that your back foot is flush up against the rubber. All right, that's probably the number one fix that I would make there. Okay, so as we continue down the mound, okay, one thing I notice is that your leg goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes out. All right, so it kind of goes up, down, out. Okay, and what happens is when you go up, down, and out, I try not to teach this because what can happen is your legs or your hips can swing open. All right, so you kind of swing your hips open instead of staying closed with that hip, with that front hip. Okay, and what happens is, if you look at from the left side here, okay, you kind of swing open early, and so that front hip opens up early and it leaks, and so we are losing some power there. Okay, one thing I look for is I like to watch this back heel. I'll put a circle around it. I like to watch your back heel and your shin. All right, as we go into our hip lead, okay, as our front leg starts to work down the mound, okay, I want to see that back shin stay, or that back knee stay over the middle of your foot. Okay, watch where yours goes. All right, yours is going over towards your toes. Okay, that means that we're rotating with our quads and not with our glutes or with our butt muscles. All right, which means we're losing some power there. Okay, so one thing that we're going to have you work on is having your hips sit more back. So have your butt go more back this way, so that way that back shin stays vertical, and so that way we're working more down the mound and rotating using our glutes and not our quad muscles. All right. Okay, you can see from this. Okay, you can see from this angle too. As I go into hip lead, I want to watch and say, okay, am I seeing the back leg pinch? Is that thing working down the mound? All right. It looks like it is from this angle, but what's really happened is it's not working in the right direction. We want that back knee to go more straight towards our catcher. All right, and we don't want that thing to come up over our toes. Okay. So that's one thing is we'll find some drills to help you keep that back heel connected to the ground a little bit longer. All right. Now, as we go on to front foot strike, we're here, and what happens is because you're rotating up on your heel, rotating up off your heel and rotating on your toe, okay, as soon as you rotate up onto that toe, our hips have to open up, okay, and because your hips are opening up early, your upper half is opening up early too. So if you look over here on the right side, notice how your hips and shoulders rotate at the same time. All right, when your hips and shoulders rotate at the same time, we're losing a lot of velocity. Okay, so we need to work on increasing your hip to shoulder separation. Okay, and one way that makes that easier is if we keep this back heel connected as long as possible. All right, and I'll show you some drills that will help you with this. Okay, so as we go in front foot strike, look, our shoulders are already opening up. Okay, so one thing that we talked about for you is staying on line and staying in direction and keeping that front shoulder closed. Okay, see how early this front shoulder opens? When we're right here, our front shoulder should still be closed off. All right, my shoulder should still be going in that direction with my glove side thumb down, and then as we go to rotate, it goes up. All right, so where you're at in this position right here is where you should be when your foot is making contact with the ground. See how much room there is? All right, your foot's not even close to the ground yet. Okay, your body should still be that far closed off. All right, your upper body, your arm should be at this position still that far closed off while your foot is actually on the ground. Okay, that will increase your shoulder separation and you'll gain some velocity there. Okay, now that's not something you're going to want to like forcibly correct. All right, we're going to have to show you some drills in order to kind of get you there. All right, that's the whole point of what we're doing with this off season. Okay, and then as we get to this point, like I said, we're kind of rushing out front with our upper body. Okay, and all that's because of what's happening with this back heel. All right, so our head should be at this point when we're at front foot strike. Our head should still be back in this position here. All right, but all of that is a result of coming up onto this heel too early. Where we're right here and we're already up on our heel. All right, we're losing a lot of power with our lower half. We're not able to keep our head back and keep our weight back. And so we lose some velocity there. Okay, so for you, those are the big things that we're going to work on this off season and try to correct before next year. Okay, now the last thing I'll say is look at how you land. Okay, so when we land, notice how your leg is like that at an angle. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we want it to land like that. But what should happen is as we go out into release, that leg should straighten out. Okay, so if it's at this point here, by the time you release the ball, it should be straightening. Okay, so it should be at ball release to this point where it's completely straight up and down. Okay, it should be completely locked out by the time you release the ball. So we'll have some drills too that'll help you work on that. Okay, now I don't want you to like get concerned like, oh, I got all these changes to make, I don't know how to fix it. Okay, that's what my job is. So I'll come up with some drills and things for you to work on in order to work on keeping this back, in order to help you use your legs a little bit more effectively, which will help a lot of the mechanical issues that we're seeing. Okay, and then as always, make sure you take advantage of this off season to continue to get stronger. Okay, you made some gains in the last spring. I could tell you, like physically, you got stronger. You have to continue to do that. You have to continue to lift hard. All right, because the stronger you get, the easier it is to add velocity. All right, so we'll come up with a plan for you this off season. We'll check back in a month and see if we can make some changes to some of these things. All right, thank you.